Still July 17, 2021. Detroit is flooding again. Again. Massive flooding a couple of weeks ago. Flooding again.
Oh, it's awful, Devin. To make it plain, look behind me here. This is Hanover and Telegraph, and there is probably 3 feet of water down there. We saw people in kayaks. You can see people walking. We have seen some people walking in the water with their belongings to get out. Some of the other residents have already left. And as bad as it is here, it's just as bad on the other side of Hanover because this backs up to Ecorse Creek. And still, as bad as it is here, there are other places like Inkster where they're battling basement flooding. Many of Inkster's side streets have 6 inches to a foot of water slowing traffic. But it's clear water, and that's not the big problem here. Residents like Kim Russell are starting where they left off 3 weeks ago. She has a sump pump line running from her basement, pushing sewer water out. Inside, there's at least a foot of smelly brown water seeping into her sewer lines.
The last one came up over the 3rd stair. That was 2 weeks ago.
You're angry?
Yes, because it's ridiculous. And we need to know what is the city plan on doing? How are they going to help us to take it? You can't keep buying furnaces, hot water tanks, freezers, cleaning up over and over every year, every 2 years. Right next door, Hollis Randall is equally angry. He has even more brown water in his basement.
Yeah, I lost a lot. A refrigerator, dryer, I just bought a washing dryer, and just bought a refrigerator. My nephew's still working on a hot water tank from last time, and my furnace is underwater. It's a lot of money.
Just around the corner, Phil Smoot can't believe he's waging the same water battle he did just days after the last one.
But it's coming through the drains. See, the water's coming through there, and the sump pump can't keep up. Yeah. You know, so I don't know what to do. I mean, it's frustrating.
And it's so much flooding. The last 2 weeks, we wouldn't even let our grandkids go outside and play in the yard because it's sewage. And you just can't do it.
Something's very wrong. And it doesn't seem like it's Mother Nature.
In this neighborhood, it's the Ecorse River that's overflowing, but the people who live here tell me their streets started flooding before the river did.
Black stuff started coming up from the sewers because the creeks were empty. It came up from the sewers, then flooded the creek. It never comes up from the sewers first. This time it did, and it was fast.
Here we are again, and it's getting close, and we got more rain coming.
And then you get clowns that drive up and down the street in their four-wheel drives and pushes all the water into the houses.
Let's find a solution to this because I think there is a solution.
What do you think it is?
They need to clean the creek out, but nobody wants to take responsibility for it. Some says it's Dearborn Heights' problem, and Dearborn Heights says it's Wayne County's problem. And nobody wants to take responsibility for it.
Well, so I am hearing that people have basement flooding, and when you see just how close this water is to these homes, surrounding the homes, essentially, it's no surprise, but it's been a little challenging for us to get up and down the street since the water in most places.
All right. You know, they said thousands of homes have been flooded again in Detroit. Did you hear that woman say that it wasn't the creek that flooded them? The water was coming up from the sewers.
It's deja vu all over again when it comes to flooding. Once again, basements are flooded. Wesley Burns lives in the Jefferson-Chalmers neighborhood. Unfortunately, this is not his first time dealing with water in his basement.
All I know is just out of the last, 4 years or 5, we've been flooded.
Burns tells me he just recovered from the last flood some weeks ago, and now this, water in his basement again.
Well, they got up halfway to the hot water tank, and it's 6 feet tall.
His daughter, Cynthia Burns, says this is just overwhelming.
It's just a headache, and since the major flood, my dad is on a fixed income, so we have to replace 2 furnaces, 1 water heater, a washer, dryer, a freezer.
And they're not alone. The same in the Grosse Pointe Park area. Ron Porter hired a cleaning crew to clean out his basement from the last flood Friday morning.
And then I came down in the basement about 11:30 and water was bubbling up through my drain in the laundry room.
And he's begging for someone to look into this.
This is a regional problem and we need to have a regional solution to our infrastructure.
Perhaps these floods are being made purposefully. Maybe people really need to start thinking about that.
Guys, we're here on Chatsworth, and as you can see, the water on the road is actually receding, but neighbors here say just because you don't see water on the road, it doesn't mean it's not in their homes. A man that just came outside said he's pumping the water from his basement right now. Earlier, we were near Harper Woods on the other side, and one woman says she feels like she is reliving a nightmare.
I've been mopping.
This is not what Carrie McCoy had planned for her Friday.
I keep running up and down the basement stairs, mopping. I keep a mop bucket and a mop.
Mopping her basement at least every hour since the rain started this morning. This is the front of McCoy's house here on Warden Street.
Right in front of my house and across the street, me and this lady's house get hit the worst every time we have a bunch of rainwater.
McCoy is still recovering from the last rainfall 3 weeks ago.
It invaded the refrigerator. I lost a microwave down there. I lost tables.
Damaged her carpet and left behind mold on the walls and furniture.
Mold. All that's mold on this.
Less than 2 miles away on Hereford, Antoinette Fields is getting flashbacks.
Relive the nightmare all over again.
There is water standing in her basement. She didn't realize it until she got a call from her brother this morning.
He like, cold red, FaceTime me. And the water is gushing up out of the floor, like out of different parts of the floor, everything. And mind you, we just went through the first flood.
Yeah. Like many others, she lost her furnace, mattress, and other valuables. Neighbors in Detroit's East Side are calling on the city for help.
I don't see the city on this street working, and they know how bad the floods are on this street.
The city's water and sewerage department says crews have been out in neighborhoods since early this morning addressing street flooding.
We know government, local, state, federal, we are not ever going to get the help that is needed. We know that, but a whole lot of Americans don't. It's truly, I don't know, man. You know, people can't afford this.
Poor man's nightmare.
He says the situation on this block, on this street, is just too much.
I had enough. Done. Gotta get out of here.
He shows me this dumpster in his driveway from 2 weeks ago. Yep, everything in the basement had to be replaced.
I just got through buying a new water tank, and I just got through replacing it. It's still down there, brand new, no good now.
As his basement fills up, it's now at 3 feet of sewer and storm water.
Hope FEMA gives me something.
Your heart suddenly goes out to the Gonzalez family. Just one family on one block in a very large city affected by all these floods. That is the scene in Southwest Detroit. Tim Pamplin.
And that's what they want. What that man just said. I'm going to get the F out of here. Okay, well, let's just listen to who is now gone from us, the founder of the Weather Channel, a loved meteorologist who was interviewed on CNN about climate change.
Clear, Mr. Kenny's not a scientist. I am. He's the CEO of the Weather Channel now. I was the founder of the Weather Channel, not the co-founder.
And I'm glad you did, because I am addicted to the Weather Channel. I watch a lot of cable news.
Now, hold on just a minute. I'm not done. And CNN has taken a very strong position on global warming that it is a consensus. Well, there is no consensus in science. Science isn't a vote. Science is about facts. And if you get down to the hard, cold facts, there's no question about it. Climate change is not happening. There is no significant man-made global warming now. There hasn't been any in the past, and there's no reason to expect any in the future. There's a whole lot of baloney, and yes, it has become a big political point of the Democratic Party and part of their platform, and I regret it's become political instead of scientific, but the science is on my side.
I don't think we're going to come to a conclusion about the topic right here. What I do wonder, though, is when you see...
because you wouldn't allow it to happen on CNN, but I'm happy that I got on the air and got a chance to talk to your viewers. Hello, everybody. There is no global warming.
What I do wonder is when you see the government, when you see NASA, when you see other institutions say that 97% of climate scientists agree, do you think they're making it up? What I don't understand is how you square that.
That's a manipulated figure, and let me explain it to you. The government puts out about $2.5 billion directly for climate research every year. It only gives that money to scientists who will produce scientific results that support the global warming hypothesis of the Democrat Party position. So they don't have any choice. If you're going to get the money, you got to support their position. Therefore, 97% of the scientific reports published support global warming. Why? Because those are the ones the government pays for, and that's where the money is. It's real simple, but that doesn't mean it's right. That doesn't make it true. That only makes it bought and paid for. The money goes in circles.
I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to try to refute you on the facts.
That's the truth.
I'll simply say that the vast majority...
Please stand back from this issue and let the two sides be on the air.
Let the two sides be on the air? Well, having lived in this country and seen what is happening, that seems to be un-American now. Two sides on the air? No. We will have only one side. One side since 9/11, 2001. One side on war. One side on climate change. One side. Oh boy, now we're one side going after the other side. Not good. Not good. You know, the climate change agenda is going to become so intense very shortly, and our videos on weather modification and climate change and exposing the truth are going to be taken down. Just like they've been doing with the pandemic. This is Austria.
العالم بلد تغرق يا زكريا. اركب وارجع على المانيا احسن لي.
Salzburg. Austrian state of Salzburg. Caused by torrential downpours. It's unbelievable what's taking place. I think you've seen pretty much all of this. So, how about the Arabian deserts, Oman? Typical of what happens in the desert. Right? Right? No, not at all.
Heavy rains on Friday in various parts of Oman caused devastating flooding across the country. The areas of El Batina and Sharqiya were particularly affected. The beds of dried-up rivers filled with water and rushed swiftly, bringing chaos and destruction. Moving between cities became almost impossible, and the main roads were blurred. The city of Sir suffered the most. The streets were like rivers, cars and houses were flooded, the power supply was cut, and many families had to be evacuated from their homes in lowland areas. Rescuers were busy clearing roads and removing obstacles even during the rains and getting life back to normal. The government has warned that the rivers will continue to overflow and anyone who crosses the river in the wrong place will face fines and even jail time.
When we actually had some news on mainstream media and they weren't state TV, CNN 1985.
Lightning is the most dramatic form of energy to be found in nature. Scientists have succeeded in creating limited types of artificial lightning, and some think that these could be the forerunners of a new type of directed energy weapon, part of a family of weapons which operate within the radio frequency segment of the electromagnetic spectrum, and are thus referred to as radio frequency weapons. Dr. James Frazier has researched electromagnetic effects for the Air Force for over 10 years, and he, like a small but growing number of weapons experts, feels that radio frequency, or RF weapons, could be the wild card in the ongoing arms race.
You could have tremendous amounts of radiated power. And what you did with that power then is a matter of engineering design and what your goal is.
Robert Bass, a physicist and PhD in mathematics, is working on U.S. weapons research. He says that the Soviets seem to be ahead in a number of areas, and especially in RF weapons.
We are behind the Soviet Union in directed energy weapons based on 60 gigahertz microwave beams.
Dr. Bass and others feel the most likely form of Soviet RF weaponry would be high-powered microwaves, similar to a focused, ultra-high-intensity radar beam. It would literally cook humans and knock out computers and electronic surveillance and communications gear.
So when we have the grid go down because there was a cyber attack, remember, our government, Russia, China, Brazil, a whole lot of countries have these electromagnetic frequencies that can be used as a weapon. What else can they do? Well, in the very beginning, they said, man can actually create lightning. Think about the fires. What else can they do? They can steer the jet stream. They can direct weather fronts. They can create weather. They can use lasers, point them at a cloud, and voila, you have torrential downpours. You know, I came across this on Twitter, which person writes, I've watched the live radar thousands of times. Never seen this. Probably easy explainable, but still weird. He's never seen this. What he's talking about are these lines. The very straight, defined lines, which are extremely low frequencies right here. Niagara Falls, Buffalo. The frequency lines, let's see. Here's one. And as the line gets thicker, you know that the frequency was sent from this area, and extremely low frequencies can cover 300 miles. That's very long, but as you can tell, they're getting thicker, and that's from Niagara Falls area. This is from up in Canada into Lake Erie. And Michigan has their extremely low frequency transmitter site, the military's transmitter site. Cutler, Maine has one, very powerful. So there's another fire, Lake Tahoe, and emergency evacuations for the Tamarack fire.
Yeah, I know. I think it's a Tamarack, or what the channel would be called. And they've got an air attack going on this thing.
You don't think it's been reported?
No, because look where he is. Look how low he is. Look, turn around.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's right on the ridge.
Well, the race has been canceled. We're being evacuated. The fire is out of control. They have no containment. So just packing up and heading out. People running the race are getting a little frantic.
Emergency evacuations. A whole lot of new fires that I don't see on satellite, which I find interesting. But I also, this is out of sequence, but mystery plague that is killing countless birds in 9 states, gotten a lot worse. Electromagnetic frequencies can do this. A lot of the affected birds appear to develop neurological problems. Their brain. Many of them go completely blind before they finally die. We're living in a very different environment, and it's dangerous to all life. And how beautiful is that? My God. All right, so the Tamarack fire, Sierra wildfire burning since July 4th, consumes 6,600 acres. Yeah, I know the numbers. Markleeville, well, they've been evacuated. The fire is 0% contained. Northeast Oregon wildfire at nearly 11,000 acres. Governor invokes Conflagration Act. My hunch is that act allows for the arrest of those who don't evacuate, but 11,000-acre Elbow Creek fire in northeast Oregon continues to be pushed by erratic winds and hot temperatures, challenging firefighters as the fire burns primarily to the east and west, with some growth to the north. So, Kate Brown invoked the Conflagration Act to bring in more outside resources, just more power for the petty tyrants. So the Grande Ronde River drainage near Mud Springs, about 30 miles southeast of Walla Walla, Washington. 0% contained. 6,013 acres Grand View fire, nearly 1/3 contained, which is okay, better. There's a virtual meeting in Sisters tonight, and it's 31% contained. All right, so I do have a subscriber in that area, and I do believe, I haven't heard from her in about, 24 hours, but I think she's okay. Evacuations ordered after 3 wildfires start near Huntley, Montana. Montana suddenly had an explosion of fires.
Wildfire season has exploded across Montana and here locally, with fires burning both in Yellowstone and Carbon counties. Local firefighters responded to a fire that started near Pryor Creek Golf Course in Huntley on Friday. Crews worked overnight and reached 10% containment on the fire that destroyed 3 structures and has burned an estimated 200 to 300 acres so far. Yellowstone County Disaster and Emergency Services Director Casey Williams said the fire is burning rugged terrain that has long-burning fuels like juniper trees. Management of the fire will transition to a county assist team by 6 p.m. Saturday night. And over in Carbon County, north of Joliet, the Harris Hill fire was started by lightning on Friday and has burned 2,500 acres so far and reached 0 containment. About 50 homes in the Coal Creek Road and Steen Road areas are under evacuation warning, meaning they should prepare and look out for an evacuation order where they will have to leave their homes. A Red Lodge firefighter was severely burned while fighting the blaze Friday night and was flown to a hospital in Salt Lake City. Dan Stephenson is a veteran volunteer firefighter who's worked across the western states and has been with Red Lodge since 2015. He was described to be in serious condition, according to a Saturday media release from the Red Lodge firefighters. Stephenson was part of a 2-person crew fighting the Harris Hill fire when the wind shifted suddenly towards them. Stephenson was overrun by fire, but his partner Scott Wilson was able to escape and get help. Stephenson's family and fellow firefighters are now traveling to Salt Lake City to be with him. A GoFundMe account has been set up for Stephenson to help with the family's medical expenses. Find this story at ktvq.com for details.
The winds took a turn instantly, and now he's in the hospital. You know, when it gets windy here, when it gets really windy, because I've heard about these straight line winds or magnificent winds that just took down a whole lot of trees in this area. I get nervous about power outages. The smoke today, well, let me show you the video. Hang on. I've shown videos, and they're in the fire videos that I have, where you can barely see the mountains. Today, you couldn't see any of these mountains. And our lovely sunset. And that was a pulse. That was an electromagnetic pulse that you just saw. But at least we got a little bit of orange, you know, the sun, or the yellow, or whatever. It got cherry red again today. But when that camera goes out of focus and snaps right back in, that's an electromagnetic frequency. So another dangerous heat wave is coming. That's fabulous, isn't it? All right, so, yeah. 9 large uncontained wildfires. So when I went on, satellite, I don't see 9 large wildfires. I see one down here. One that might be starting. One right here. And, you know, what is this? 3 wildfires in a row? I don't know. But I don't see 9. This fire in Montana is getting much, much bigger. I think that's the Lolo Creek fire. The smoke. This is approximately where I live. And there's a fire here, fire there, fire everywhere. At least 70 large wildfires burning in U.S. West. As fears mount over conditions, bootleg is now, well, I said this before, it is getting bigger, but it is the biggest, and it's 22% contained. Evacuations are still in place. Another dangerous heat wave. How could they say another, since the heat wave has just been, I mean, it's been triple digits on the coast where it should actually be cooler. Montana has been high 90s. Another? Really? Is it another, or is it just a continuation? It's a continuation. And this is hard. Okay, dry thunderstorms. What are they saying? Lightning. Dry thunderstorms and high temperatures raise wildfire risk across the already scorched West. So, we are kind of in for it. And I really hope everybody in the West is really prepared to take off. So, and I was looking at this, you know, New York Times, really? Okay. Look at it. First of all, it's lost a lot of its flags since I've been on it. This is Montana. I mean, it's really remarkable. Look at all of these fires. Wow. Idaho. There's a lot of fires. And they might not come up on satellite. But look at what the New York Times has for the Beckworth complex, active 15 days. This is such a shitty site. 13,000 acres burned? What? New York Times, this was today? 13,000? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, New York Times. I think I got it wrong. I was thinking it was the bootleg. Beckworth, bootleg. Okay, I got it wrong. But still, that's all that's all that you can say about it. 2,800 live within 5 miles. The Dixie Fire next to Paradise, 13,000 acres. 20 people live within 5 miles. It's grown 26% in 24 hours. Bootleg. Oh, I got them mixed up. I'm sorry. In past 24 hours, it grew 8%. 300 people live within 5 miles. Jack Fire, 10 people within 5 miles, 17,000 acres. Log Fire, 100 people within 5 miles. I'll link below to this and you can check it out, but it's pretty intense, actually, all of these fires. And doesn't seem that they've gone up to Canada. So, all right. Well, I hope you're all okay. You're safe and prepared for anything, no matter where you are. Flooding, fire. Ciao, guys.